we identify a lot of large scale AI sentiment on a variety of platforms. One of the things that we've noticed is that there is a huge uptick in AI generated narratives that are hitting the social media platforms like Instagram, X, Telegram. And I think it's very important to be aware of this. At the point that we're at with the research that we've done, we cannot disclose much of this online yet, simply because I'm unaware of what the consequences of releasing such large, basically undeniable data would do. So we're being careful with what we're going to be saying today. But what I can say is this: when it comes to that trucker convoy that's been going on in Europe, and also somewhat in the United States as well, uh, the pages that we picked up that were promoting this particular agenda and narrative were all created within the same 10-day period. There's a very dangerous tool that is created by the Israeli Mossad and the United States Central Intelligence Agency with counterparts in DARPA that we're aware of called Alice. And Alice or Snow White, I believe is what this thing is called. And it's a very complex I believe it's a computer, but it has a software component that can create provisional, so meaning like multiple partitioned or multiple identitied personas online. This has gotten incredibly dangerous because what they're doing is they're making profiles on Twitter, Instagram, all kinds of different places, and they will make these accounts look so real and they will verify them with a blue check mark. But these people don't exist. They're completely artificial intelligence. And they will
Really?
push
Wow.
huge sweeping narratives. Oh, yeah. We've identified thousands of these accounts, and they work hand in hand. It's very crazy and sinister how they work because one of them will post something, let's say, controversial, and the other ones won't necessarily agree. So what they'll do is they'll create the main narrative, they'll create their counter narrative, their opposition narratives, their supplemental narratives, and run them all simultaneously from multiple artificial intelligence profiles. So this is a pretty dangerous thing. For example, let's say profile one posts, there's a trucker convoy, everybody be there. One of the pages might post, I heard this is a psyop, I'm not going. Another page will say something to discredit that page. So all three are run by the same person or group, but they're now discrediting the already predetermined narratives that will come. So they
Interesting.
will get ahead of a counter narrative ahead of time,
Right. And
right?
here's what's
Tearing it
interesting
down.
because I was part of I was a consultant for this convoy in the United States. And we would find, and I predicted this ironically, and I said to the team, I said, whatever we do, we have to send everything back to one website, to designated spokespeople, and that's it, because you're going to have this counter narrative go out there. And we would see every time they would post something, there would be a slew, especially on X, a slew of narratives fighting each other. And what I ended up determining, and it sounds like this is you were already there before me, is these were bots talking to each other. These weren't even humans talking to each other. Would you agree?
Precisely. And they require zero input. They can just run on their own.
Yeah. And so what they did is if I'm right, what it appears that they're doing, Jax, is they're absorbing all the oxygen in the room in regards to the conversation. So if you put something out that you think maybe a good for we the people, right? These AIs will create this whole counter narrative and positive narratives that you say, and they'll suck all the oxygen in the room, so the real information never gets to the people. Is that what you
That
think's
is the
going on?
key. That is the key. That is the key right there. It's
Yeah.
one word. It's the same way a fire sprinkler works. It's called suppression. So the instantaneous fire that gets put in is immediately suppressed. The oxygen is quenched off of it immediately. And the way that they do this is incredibly intricate, but it is completely automated at this point. A decade ago, this was not automated. It was very hard to do. They would have full facilities, fusion centers filled with military,
They
garb
did.
wearing
Obama ran
individuals
one that
that
had
would do this.
300 people in it, actually.
Not needed anymore. We
Yeah.
can now we
Interesting.
can now rent these facilities. We get contacted all the time by providers that we have to rent these types of machines. And a
Wow.
lot of people, or probably not a lot of people here, but some people may know I build technology that does this too. We get offered from the government frequently. I turn down offers from Koch. Koch brothers have hit us up now multiple times. Their organizations offered multiple six figures. They've had hidden recorded conversations with me at coffee shops. They've tried to pressure us into doing a bunch of weird shit. The reality is this type of technology is heavily sought after right now because the ones who know it exists know how powerful it is.
Mm.
Um, I think last year uh we did some work for a online casino. One of our agencies did some online work for a casino, and just with that concept alone, within a few months, every person on Instagram was seeing gambling reels and gambling content on their feed almost every single day on Instagram. Became a massive sweeping force. Just to kind of get the perspective of how fast they can get narratives out, they don't need thousands of pages. They only need a few hundred. They sometimes only need a few dozen. And if they are well programmed and well sentimented, these pages can take all of the life away from a narrative.